Thank you. A very good evening to all of you. So today I'll be discussing with the management of certain complex cataract cases using the femtosecond laser platform. I have no financial disclosure. Now we're all aware that the femtosecond laser has brought about an unparalleled precision to the conventional phacoemulsification, and certain exceedingly important steps such as the capsulotomy and the lens fragmentation can be carried out with a lot of predictability. Now, these advantages become even more pronounced in certain complex cataracts, and I'll be dealing with a few of these cases in my subsequent slides. The white cataract still remains a challenge vis-a-vis the capsular rhexis. We're all aware that there is an increased intralenticular pressure in these waterlogged cataracts, because of which there is a high propensity for a capsular runoff, also known as the Argentinian plaque sign. Additionally, other conditions such as a poor red reflex or any associated zonulopathy can make matters worse. So getting a capsulotomy right is of utmost importance because it allows you a safe in-the-back phacoemulsification. Also, it gives you an adequate sulcus in the event of a posterior capsular rupture wherein you can implant a lens into the sulcus. The femtosecond laser works in a closed system, so the Argentinian flag sign does not occur. The important things to remember here is that one should always stain the capsule with trypan blue in these cases because there might be an egress of a certain milky fluid which could interfere with the subsequent femtosecond delivery and result in uncut areas. Then one just goes on to meticulously pull the capsule or bring the capsule in the center in a circumferential fashion akin to a regular capsular rhexis. The femto-assisted nucleotomy in these waterlogged cataracts is suboptimal. Moving on to the hard cataracts or dense nuclear sclerosis, which we all know is a challenge, especially in diabetic patients where the nucleus is leathery and hard. And this has an increased risk of intraoperative complications. The use of the nucleotomy of the femtosecond in multiple publications has shown a reduction in the effective phaco time. This is more when we use smaller grids, for example, 350 microns as against 500. And the advantages are also more pronounced in harder grades of cataracts. So what does this essentially give you? It gives you clearer corneas, lesser inflammation, and good visual outcomes immediately. This is a case of a dense nuclear sclerosis wherein I'm just showing you the matrix pattern on the LensX platform. It essentially breaks the nucleus into small cubes. So you can see that there are horizontal cuts interspersed by vertical cuts, and the nucleotomy occurs. This is another case of a leathery hard cataract. It's a brown to black cataract, wherein the femtosecond has given a nucleotomy of 6 quadrants. You can see that the cleavage with the femtosecond is through and through, and it allows for a subsequent ease in separating these leathery spines and removing them. The bubbles that you saw escaping were essentially secondary to the nemodissection of the femtosecond laser. The posterior polar cataract is another challenging case. It has an increased propensity for a posterior capsular rent or a nucleus drop. Now, apart from the capsulotomy, which is very important, another advantage that the femto gives you is that it allows a femtodelineation, wherein you can make this thick epinuclear cushion. So how that helps is that it protects the underlying posterior capsule from all the pressure fluctuations that are happening while you're dealing with the core of the nucleus. This can either be done in concentric circles, or other papers have been published wherein they have also added sectors to the same pattern. Another major advantage is the use of the inbuilt ASOCT which the machine has, which allows you to judge the integrity of the posterior capsule. So there have been a handful of publications wherein they have applied a preoperative ASOCT to assess the risk of intraoperative dehiscence, but there have been limitations in terms of the fact that either it was a retrospective cohort or a very limited sample size, or in a study where larger PPCs of more than 4 millimeters were just excluded. So to overcome these limitations, we had studied the use of the ASOCT with the femtosecond in eyes which underwent PPC in a sample of 50 eyes, and we noted that the negative predictive value was 100%, which essentially means that if the capsule looked intact on the ASOCT, There was no intraoperative dehiscence. 4 of the 7 eyes developed a PCR. Of the remaining 3, where the capsule did not look intact, it could have been because of any aftershadowing from the posterior plaque, wherein we were led to believe that there was a discontinuity. So the important point here is that the ASOCT shows you an intact posterior capsule. The risk of an intraoperative PCR is very rare. So just to sum up the points of the PPC with this video, you can see on the ASOCT that there is a discontinuation of the posterior capsule. So one simply increases the offset of the posterior nucleotomy to give you a thicker epinuclear cushion for the subsequent maneuvers. There was an associated nuclear sclerosis, because of which we've done a softening along with the segmentation. You can appreciate a free-floating capsulotomy on the table. Once this is removed, the nucleotomy can now be done with relative ease because the pieces have already been separated, and this can be done with minimal manipulation and no rotation, which is very important for the posterior polar cataracts. All throughout, there is a thick epinuclear cushion behind, which is protecting the posterior capsule from all the fluctuations that are happening in the anterior chamber at the moment. This can then be removed in toto. You just dilate out of the bag and simply aspirate it. Dr. Ramamurthy has already alluded to this earlier. This is a case of flax in a gross subluxation. This was a Marfan syndrome where you can see that there's a gross subluxation, and the loss of the zonules can also be noted on the ASOCT. So the simple caveat to remember here is that you have to center the capsulotomy onto the subluxated bag, both in terms of the size that is available and the centration. The remaining procedure has already been discussed in great detail. The fact that you can get a good capsulotomy is very important as a framework for the subsequent insertion of the hooks or the rings. A vitrectomized eye also poses challenges in its own unique way. So this is a case of a post-vitrectomized eye with silicone oil in situ. Again, the anterior segment OCT will help to show you the integrity of the posterior capsule. You'll see that again, like the PPC, we've increased the offset to give you a thicker epinuclear cushion. The nucleotomy here would help to remove this nuclear fragment with lower phaco energy, which is important in cases of compromised corneas. You can see a silicon reflex in the posterior segment once the cortex has been removed. A word of caution, however, is that one should look for emulsified silicone oil in the anterior chamber. You can see in this case report that there is a globule of silicone oil with an aftershadowing behind, which leads to attenuation of the femtosecond laser in a large uncut area of capsulotomy and no nucleotomy as well. So in these cases, it might be preferable to do a conventional phacoemulsification over the femto platform. This is the last case. Glaucoma or high IOPs were initially considered a contraindication for the femtosecond laser. However, with the advent of the liquid optic interface and the soft fit PI, the pressure rises are lower and the femto can be used easily. The only important point to remember here, I would prefer a liquid optics interface as the pressure rises are slightly lower. The important point to remember here that the ring should be slightly decentered in order to include this bleb so that there is no suction loss during the femto delivery. Also, you want to avoid any excessive manipulation or handling of the conjunctiva in that area. So I'd just like to conclude that the technology of flax is evolving, and because of that, it's finding its widespread use not only in conventional cases, but also these complex cases. And it is time to take the leap of faith and switch to the power of femto. Thank you.
Thank you very much.